A very warm welcome to the new episode of Ink and Insights. This is your host, Sumit Sharma Samir. This is a Nepal based podcast, and if you are interested in listening to the thought leaders and Nepali influences from around the world, please subscribe to my channel. I'm extremely pleased to welcome Aayushi KC in my program today. Aayushi KC is the founder CEO of Khalisisi Management Private Limited, a waste management platform that currently connects waste workers in an industry with more than 13,000 waste workers to waste sellers. Khalisisi works to digitally empower the informal waste waters stakeholders to increase the diversion of recyclable materials away from landfills. KC works to raise public awareness of recycling in Nepal and ultimately hopes to create a waste management industry in the country. The 200 plus waste entrepreneurs involved with Khalisisi have been able to earn 35% more income and also found a respectful space for themselves in this industry. Khalisisi has been recognized by Google as Google Business Story in 2017. KC was named a Forbes 30 under 30 in 2018, Asia 21 Young Leader in 2019. I see it's a pleasure to have you in my show. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
I see. How did this all started? Why particularly were you interested in managing waste management?
Because it's never been done before. Simple answer. But I think, waste is something that you just cannot ignore, whether it's in the premises of your own home or out on the streets in Kathmandu or out in the riverbanks. So it's everywhere. And the concerning issue with waste is that it's a growing problem, and it's growing at a rapid speed. So if we are not doing anything about it right now, it's only going to multiply and increase as a problem, not just for us as individuals, but the country and for the globe all in all. So I think it's a problem that we all should actually focus on.
And how does Khali Sisi contribute to sustainable waste management practices?
So the idea was always to sort of not reinvent the wheel. Let me start by saying something like, especially as Nepalis or as people from South Asia in general, we always tend to look up to the more developed part of the world or the Western part of the world. And we are mesmerized and overwhelmed by the technology, the innovation that comes about in those regions of the world. But we also need to understand that the problems that that area and this part of the world face are completely different. They're very unique, right? Unique to our socio-cultural background as well. And also with that comes innovations that require a little different approach. And regarding the waste management scenario in Nepal, when I started looking and started researching, I sort of went back to our roots and figured that there's already a 50 plus year old industry that has been contributing to sustainable practices or to recycling in Nepal and the South Asian belt. And what they essentially do is they go house to house every single day from 6 in the morning till 6 in the evening, shouting their lungs out, asking people for recyclables and also being willing to pay people for their waste. So, where in the world can you find a system that's been working and thriving for the past 50 years and paying people for the waste? So it's a completely diverse model. And that has been happening in Nepal. So we do not need to reinvent the wheel. All we need is to adjust it with the technology age and sort of digitally include them in the formal system so that it becomes an even efficient system. So that's how Khalisisi came about, with the idea of digitally including and empowering the waste workers who've been involved in this industry for more than 50 years. And in Kathmandu alone, there are more than 13,000 of them working on this and earning a living. And at the same time, contributing to the environment by uh, the at least by redirecting at least 40% of the recyclables away from the landfills. I say whatever little recycling happens in Nepal happens because of this informal supply chain, informal waste ecosystem. Had it not been there, we would not have been able to manage the management problem. So that is how our company sort of, contributes to recovering waste materials.
Right, right, right. I really like the idea of, when you said that we already had these practices. We tend to sort of not look back into the practices that's there in our society for the past so many years. That's not only in the West, but in almost every sector. Why do you think that we do this? We don't try to probe into our own practices.
Branding, maybe, you know. Because no, it's a very important question, because like you said, not just waste, it kind of impacts every other sector as well. We have this, I don't know, hangover, generational hangover, thinking that local is not the best, or whatever is happening, the innovation, the technologies, the hardware, the software around it, all comes from the West, and it's all been adopted well in the West. So I want to be part of that, the fear of missing out. So I think people just want to get on that wagon and say that, oh, I'm also part of this technological revolution happening in Silicon Valley or whatnot. So I think that there's that ambition, and there's also this, alarming, I would say, disconnection between the youth and the current practices that are happening in Nepal. For example, we do a program called Safa Generation, where we take in school children and we take them to visit the local collection centers, typically known as kabards in Nepal, basically a junkyard, right? So, and when we tell them about this innovation and about Khalisisi friends, the waste workers, how they've been working for 50 years and they recycle and whatnot, they are equally amazed and shocked that they have no idea about what's happening in their own country, in their own neighborhood and community. So I think it's very alarming that children especially do not know about what's happening, and if they do not know, there will be no discourse around it, and then there will be no solution around the problems that we face in our country.
True, true, true. I mean, I completely agree when you say that, children are completely disconnected, and people from our generation feel somehow perhaps they would be branded as backward if they try to probe into their own culture and customs, right? So that has been trend. At least I could see that in the past. I just hope that it changes. What do you think are some of the biggest challenges you have faced in scaling your company, and how have you overcome them?
Well, for starters, before scaling, even when we started, we didn't have a blueprint or any precedents to follow about or a guidebook to let us even have an idea of how we want to start this company, or how we want to map the operational processes, the supply chain and whatnot, because no one's ever done this before in Nepal. So I think a lot of time was given to just figuring out the process. And when it comes to scaling, of course, startups in Nepal or anywhere or companies require that amount of capital injection. So just finding the right kind of investors, the right kind of institutional support was and still has been a challenge, because I feel like money still isn't a problem, but I think the kind of support we're looking for is people who really also invest in the vision and idea of behind the company, because it's not like we're gonna make millions in just a few years time. It's a marathon. It's not a short term sort of investment. It's a marathon, because what we're trying to do will require a lot of support from all sorts of stakeholders. So I think just finding the right kind of capital injectors and supporters for the vision, and also because the kind of industry we're dealing with is There is no industry, to be honest. We're trying to create an industry because it's an informal setup, and it's been working the same way for more than 50 years now. It's untouched, it's unchanged. And so there's a lot of resistance from the community to sort of be involved in this digital revolution that we're trying to take them on. So just overcoming that resistance and winning their trust and faith, and being in their good faith has been a challenge, and just formalizing that system, because like I said again, it's never been done before. And also another one I would say would be finding the right talent. It's with the outflow of youth, talented youth, and going out of the country every day, and people not being interested, not finding hope to stay back in the country and work. I think it's just a challenge to find the right kind of talent.
Exactly, exactly. That's so unfortunate. Everyone wants to leave the country behind. Um, and how does your company engage with local communities and businesses to promote better practices?
So the product we deal is waste, which happens to be with everyone, from a newborn baby to offices to institutions to hospitals to households. So everyone has waste all around the year. So, first of all, there are two, because we're a platform that connects the waste entrepreneurs with anybody who has waste. So, the one community that we work with is that of the waste workers, the waste entrepreneurs. So, like I said, it's not about reinventing the wheel, it's about taking them along and not replacing them. So, what we do is we work with that community, which is 100% male and comes from a certain ethnic and cultural background. So, so there are certain, precautions that we need, concerns that we need to address while working with this community, taking note of their, I would say, concerns as well. Because, like I said, they've been untouched for the past 50 years. So we work with them, we sort of formalize them into the formal sector, and we train them about using something as simple as a WhatsApp or even a smartphone, because they never used a smartphone before. So like that, and we also have program for their children to help them educate their children. And when it comes to the other part, that is the section that has waste. So what we do is, like I said, one is we work with the children, and we make sure that they have first-hand experience about learning about waste and waste management and how it happens in their own country. And we also work with corporates and offices, and because I said branding is also important, so we understood that. And now we tell, when we tie up with offices, we tell them, okay, you say you recycle and stuff, but do you know how much you recycle? How much do you contribute? Because data speaks louder than anything else, right? So, so when they say no, we have no idea what we do. So we provide them with that data, and they help them uh, realize that maybe they're doing better or they can do better. So, for example, we work with a bank, we let them know that they've recycled at least 5,000 tons of paper a year. That is equivalent to saving 160 elephants, the size of 160 elephants of worth of paper from going into the landfill. So we work a lot with data. And similarly, we work with another community that we've started working with, is that of single women, and providing them with trainings and work opportunities to repurpose waste materials. For example, we have a program where we make bags out of old jeans or denim material, and then give it out to children. So that way, it also serves the purpose of skill building for single women and providing work opportunities.
Right, right. And can you share a success story or impactful case study where your company made a significant difference?
Um, well, when we started out, my thought was never to, sort of bring this social impact or change in the. My idea was very simple: to start a business and do something with the waste industry. But along the way, I figured that it's such a multifaceted business model that it also has a social implication. So one very simple story I would say is, we were celebrating Dasai, the biggest Nepali festival, and in doing so, we celebrated in a nice hotel, the Hotel Himalaya at Pulchok, and we invited over 200 of our Khalisisi friends. And it was well past 30 minutes past the scheduled time, and none of our Khalisisi friends showed up. So we started getting worried. We thought maybe they just ditched us and they're not coming. And when we called them and went out to the gate, we saw this row of Khalisisi friends outside the hotel gate. And when we asked them, why aren't you coming in? They're like, ma'am, Didi Kosari Aune, how are we supposed to come in? This is a place where the guards will shoo us away. So they just couldn't muster the courage to come in. And then we assured them, no, that this is your day. We are celebrating you. We're celebrating your hard work. So you're the hero of the day. And then when the guards give them that royal hotel salute and ushered them in, they had this, they felt, I understood that they felt this pride in working in this sector, because before this they never even um, acknowledged the fact that they were working in the waste sector or they were waste workers. They were always sort of shy about that. So I think that just gave them a lot of confidence and pride in what they were doing. And eventually it did improve their work and their willingness to join in our community even more. So, yeah.
Right. That's indeed a huge contribution, Ayushi, I must say that. And what role do you think partnerships play in the growth of your company's strategy, and how do you choose your collaborators?
Oh, it's a very important pillar for us. We work on the model of partnership and collaboration because, like I said, it's not just a national problem; it's a global problem, and it will require that sort of scale of partnership, and we cannot do it alone. Well, first partnership that we have is with our waste workers, the community of waste workers, the waste entrepreneurs. Then the other kind of partnership that we work on is with the local government, the wards and the municipalities, and just work with them in figuring out how we can scale this program across all wards in Kathmandu and Balankantha, in Lalitpur, in Bhaktapur. So that is one collaboration that we always work very hard on. And the other is coming from development agencies or MNCs who who really want to work towards sustainability, but that's not their core focus. So that's where we come in and help them figure out how they can be a sustainable organization while just focusing on their work, making profits. So that's where we come in and partner. So I think that kind of partnership allows us to scale, do bigger work, and just sort of also gives us that credibility to partner with even bigger organizations later on, because we want to take this global as well. So just building that step towards it, it's very important.
Right, right. So you said you wanted to take it global. Can you suggest us what does that mean?
Well, because it's a scalable solution, it's a scalable platform. And like I said, at least in the South Asian belt, where we share the same sort of socioeconomic background, same sort of problem and issues, we can also set up this sort of solution that can cater to that problem in those belts, especially. So why not someday? That's an aspiration for us to take this global as well.
Definitely. We wish you good luck for
Thank
that.
you.
And how has your company adapted to the evolving environmental regulations and policies?
Well, we're the ones working on it. So I wouldn't say we're working around it. So we're working on it, because I think still when it comes to policies, Nepal. has very well written policies, not just in the waste sector, but across all sectors. But when it comes to implementation, then there's where we're all stuck. But also, especially in the waste sector, there's incredible work happening across the globe that we can really get inspired from something as simple as plastic credits to ERPs, which is and then producer responsibility, the programs around producer responsibilities and polluters pay and whatnot. There's so many things in policy, in terms of policies that's happening around the world, not just around the world, in something as near as India as well, where we can where it's easier for us to relate to in so many ways. So, when it comes to Nepal, we're in the very nascent stages of understanding what those innovations are in policies, and implementation is another part of it. So, as part of our collaboration with the government, we also work on suggesting policies that will really be effective in use and efficient as well in our Nepali context as well. For example, for so many years in the past, the government has always tried to uh, introduce a ban on using plastics, and it always failed because it was not done in a collaboration and cooperation with the business community and whatnot, right? So it's always been working in isolation, and that is kind of the barrier that we want to break and work with them. So we're not working around it, we've been working with the government in introducing timely policies.
Right, right. And how do you envision the future of waste management, and what role does your company play in that vision?
Well, for us, waste management, I think for Nepal, should be an example for the rest of the world with the kind of local innovation that we have. And it can be, it's just a matter of time and persistence and hard work in realizing that it is an innovative system and incorporating that into the formal legal system. So for us, as a company, we would want to be sort of the torchbearers for that, hopefully, and be able to take Nepal to a global platform and say that, oh, Nepal is one of the top 20 recycling countries in the world. And that's a dream for us, that's a vision for us, and we want to play a part in that.
And what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs looking to start a business in the environmental sustainability sector?
To anyone trying to get into entrepreneurship, I think right now, when I speak to a lot of young people, the teenagers or in their early 20s, they're all sort of really mesmerized by the glamour, or whatever comes, the fame that comes with entrepreneurship and business, as we see the podcasts all around the world that's happening. But I think it's very important, and they feel like they need to have an idea, uh, or have it all figured out before they step in. But that's not how entrepreneurship works. It's a very boring process where you work on an idea, you sit on it, you think about it 24/7, you work on it 24/7, and then something comes out of it. Then you risk it all, you learn, you unlearn. So there's a whole process behind it. It's a very unglamorous, very boring process. So I think for anyone who's trying to get into entrepreneurship, whether it be waste or in any other sector, you should just give it a try. First of all, just give it a try, figure things out, how it works for, and also figure out if entrepreneurship is for you or not, because it isn't for everyone, and there's no shame about it, or there's no right or wrong about it. Before you commit your life to it, so just test the waters, figure things out, and if it works, then just learn and go along the way. If it doesn't, then you move on. But just give it a try, or else it'll haunt you for the rest of your life. So at least when you're in your deathbed in your 80s, you can say, oh, at least I gave it a try. So
True,
you don't
true.
want to live with that regret. So just, I'd say,
Exactly.
just give it a try.
Yeah, yeah. And does your past experience help you in sort of leading this company? Can you tell us what were you doing before this?
Well, it's kind of my first job, second job actually, because before starting Khalisisi, I was working for an international agency, and that sort of pushed me to get into entrepreneurship as well, because I was working for a development agency, and we were visiting one of our project sites outside Kathmandu in the outskirts. And as soon as we got there and got out of the car, this healthy looking middle aged man, comes up to us, and he asked me, so आज के बाँड्न आउनुभयो? What have you come to distribute today, to give out today? So that really stayed with me, and I thought, we're trying to, in so, even if it's well intentioned, we are creating this dependency culture, especially outside Kathmandu and amongst healthy, able people. So that really stayed with me, and I thought that, we need to tweak the system a little, and that's how I wanted to get into entrepreneurship as well. So that sort of gave me that push to get into what I'm doing today.
Right, right. And what are some of the lessons that you have learned in the process that could be valuable to other startups?
I think first would just to to have a proof of concept, to validate your idea, because you cannot just romanticize the idea in your head. It has to have a viable uh, business scalable. It needs to be a viable business scalable solution, because you need to make money out of it as well. And the other would be to invest in a very good team. When I say invest in a team, I say you don't need already experienced HR or human resource in your team that has had years of experience. You can always grow with them, but you need the right the people who have the right attitude and right take on things to get in this journey with you. So to build that team, and to also focus on growing always. Never be stagnant with, oh, the solution works right now, so there's no guarantee that it will work in the next year. We've seen with COVID what's happened. People have had to change their business models 360-degree. So always have that capacity to evolve, and just turn around your model on the go with the demand of time. So I think things like that are very important.
Right, right. So, and what are your plans for the future of your company? Any upcoming projects or initiatives you are excited about?
Yes, we are working on uh, building, I would say, community centers and recycling centers, where we have a partnership with the local group of single women, employing at least 20 of them in our new recycling centers. And also having some cross-border partnerships with companies in India, and trying to bring in innovation that's worked there into our country. So those are things that we're working on.
On that note, Ayushi, thank you so much for your time, and we wish you good luck for all the work that you are doing. I must tell you that it's a huge contribution. No one, you know, earlier attempted. So this is what I think. I when someone says that, what does it mean to add value to the work that you do? I think this kind of work that you do to add value to the larger society. So thank you so much for that, Ayushi.
Thank you so much.